Hi everyone, this is JSer. In this video, I'm going to try to build a tab component in React. I guess you are pretty familiar with what tab is, and possibly in your daily job, you would be required to implement the tab component pretty often. And it is not difficult to implement one, but I'd say it's not very easy to implement an accessible one. Recently I see this kind of hype on web accessibility. You cannot tell anyone if you say, "Hey, I built some nice component," unless it's well designed that the accessibility won't be an issue. So today I'm going to try to build a tab with my naive solution and to see what problems it has, and then I try to improve it to make it accessibility issue free, accessible. Cool. So I'm opening the Stackblitz the editor. I'm going to share the URL under this YouTube video, so don't worry, I'll share the code. So this is just the empty setup for React and TypeScript. So my initial idea is that we could have all the tabs. So what we're going to build is a tab with a component which renders a couple of tabs, and also the content which when the tab is selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a tab option, tab type. Okay, sorry. Tab equals we have the label, and also we have the key, let's say, and also we would have the content, right? Content could be React Node, and we define these tabs, and again it rendered. So function tabs, I would say, and we put tabs. So the tabs should be tab, the array of tab. The thing is that I need another one called selected tab, and this selected tab should be editable, mutable. So I would set it to default selected tab. We can actually add an add property here like this, but actually if that means that every time we render the tabs, we need gonna create a new set of tabs because we need to update the selected status. This is not optimal. We want the extra data, extra thing separate from the a tab list. So default selected tab. Should we use tab or key? Yeah, we can use the default select tab here right now. Okay, so default select tab, it's also a tab. Let's forget about the design for now. Let's just render a div, and also, okay, this is a div. We render the tabs. For tab, we need it to be clickable. We'll use button for that. So tabs. Map tab, use a button, key equals tab.key. This is tab.label. And then let's try to render something under the tab. Okay, let's define the tabs. Okay. Label, this is tab 1. Key equals tab 1. Content, we can use a P for now. Content for tab 1. We copy this for 3 times, so 2 extra tabs. Cool, and then we render the tabs. So tabs equals tabs, and and selected tabs, tabs.0. Tabs do not. Oh, tabs. There's a typo here. Cool. You can see we get it rendered, and the next thing is about the panel, right? The content. So we can get the. Okay. We need to store the selected tab. Selected tab. Select tab. Yeah. Use stay hit here. Default select this tab, and when we unclick select tab, this is the tab, and for here we just render the selected tab dot content. Where's tab? There's no content. There is content actually. Content. Oh, typo here. Cool. When we click it, you can see the tab is there. Let's add some styling for the buttons. Style. Let's say font. Wait. This is just for demo purpose. You should put it in other style sheet or CSS in JS solution. So if selected tab, if selected, then use bold. If not, we use normal. Cool. So yeah, this is a tab. It's done. And you might think it is good, but actually it's not. Let's see what are the problems. Problems for above solution. One is that it has a strong suggestion, strong requirement, like, okay, now enforce strict HTML structure by defining strict data types for tabs. So what does it mean is that you can see it requires us to make everything abstract to tabs, and these tabs must be the types like this, and say what you want to do. So everything you need to define in this tab structure, and it's not extensible. And what if you want to add something different? And other than the tabs, I want to insert something like here, like say, hey, I want to insert a title here, and you would definitely want to add another app property here, like tabs here, add a say, hey, add a title. So it means that it's not scalable, not very easy to do some customization, and yeah, but it works if your application is not that complex, and I think it's pretty fine. The second thing is about that it's an accessibility issue. This is the most important part I want to address today. So this actually tab is not accessible. What does it mean is that if we turn on the voiceover, you will see. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, the speaker is set up to my headphone. Allow me to do some change with a 10 second. So output, I'll change to Pro speaker. Cool. So now it should be fine. I think you're able to hear it. Okay.
Voiceover on main. Visited link.
This is the default.
Dashboard. Save button. Group. Image. Save. Fork button. Group.
Okay.
1. Unselected. You are currently on a text element inside a frame. To exit this web area, press Control Option Shift up arrow.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's press tab.
Tab 1 button. You are currently on a button inside a frame. To click this button, press Ctrl Option Space. To exit this web area, press Ctrl Option Shift up arrow.
What you can see that is that it will just to treat this area as nothing, just a normal area, and this button is just a button, right? The relationship between these three buttons is actually they belong to a tab list group, and but the voiceover, the browser doesn't know that because we didn't give them this kind of information. What we want actually is already define these
ARIA tab role accessibility vertical line MDN
Let's
web
try
content.
to see
You are currently on a group inside a group. To interact with it, entering our second tab, leaving ARIA tab role. Example
tab.
code sample copy link Z index copy to clipboard button.
Let's see.
You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Ctrl Option Space.
Now let's tab.
Link key link copy to second tab selected
Yeah,
tab
cool.
2 of 3 sample tabs tab group.
You can see that
You are currently on a
the thing is
selected
that
tab.
it
2
will
of 3
focus on the selected tab first, and then when I press tab,
content
it will
for the
go to
second
column.
panel. Tab panel. Its second tab.
So
Selected.
these three,
tab.
these
2
are
of
the
3
two
sample
tabs
tabs. Tab
which are
group.
not selected.
You
when
are currently on a
ignored
selected
by the
tab. 2
keyboard
of 3.
navigation. And we can use the arrow keys
First
to,
tabs.
to navigate
Third
through them,
tab.
and then
Tab. 3 of
select
3.
them.
You are
If you hear
leaving
carefully
ARIA. Tab roll.
about what
Example.
is,
Entering a third
a
tab.
voice
Selected.
on the
Tab.
voiceover,
3
you
of
can see-
3. Sample tabs. Tab group. You are currently on a selected tab. 3 of 3.
You can see that it will speak it out about, okay, you're now on the tab group, and you are on the third one, and it is selected, and you can navigate it to the second one.
Leaving ARIA. Third tab. Select second tab. Tab.
Second tab,
2 of
tab,
3.
2 of 3.
You are currently on a
It will
tab.
give
2
us
of
this
3.
extra
To
information,
select this
which
option,
makes
press
this
Ctrl
accessible.
Option Space.
Cool, I'll turn it off.
Application.
Kind of like a
Voiceover
bothering
off.
for me. Anyway, so you can see that the keyboard navigation requires that tab, when focus is outside tab list, move focus to active tab, and the arrow keys are able to move it around. This one we can ignore for now. So we are going to try another implementation of this tab. So okay, let's just comment it out, and put it here. So now we'll try to implement these tabs again. Solve these two problems. First one is enforce strict HTML structure. The thing is that I think we need to do better abstraction here. So what is exactly the tabs, right? What makes it different from other components? What is it that stop us from being flexible? The thing is that the tab is nothing. It is merely an internal state of selection, right? So what the tab, this component, this tab, it only this state is only necessary, and it will enable us to render the selected tabs and also the panel, right? So yeah, this is it. We could actually decouple them. To solve this problem, the solution is make minimum abstraction about tabs. So what we have is one, we have the tabs component, right, which holds the state, selection state, selection state, and again we could have another component called tab list, which will hold the tabs and allow keyboard navigation. Another one is tab, which is single tab. There's nothing fancy. Another one is tab panel, which is the content for a tab. And also there's something else in here, but we will cover it shortly. So cool, let's give it a try. what does this mean is that we can do something like, okay, we can create a tabs, and then we say, okay, I'll have a tab list, and then we'll have a tab. This is like tab 1, blah blah blah, and then here we will say this is tab panel. Content for tab 1, tab panel, stuff like this. Cool. Let's give it a try. And yeah. Okay. Let's see how would we implement them. Okay. The first thing is about function tabs. What does tabs have? Tabs, obviously, it first has the children. Let's define the types here. Children is this React node, React child, React dot. No. This is children. React dot React. Oh, child is already deprecated. It says. Or node, okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter for now. Cool. This is the tabs, and what we do, we will put them in a def. And also for these tabs, we need to define a default selected tab, right? But these information are all scattered around, like in its tab list, in its panel. We need something to hook them together. That's why we prefer a string value to hook them up. If we use key, it will the key will collide with a key in React. So let's use another one. We just use okay, tab. Okay, we just use tab here. So here for tabs, for these outmost tabs, it only holds the state. It doesn't need to know what about the tabs list. So it will say, okay, default selected tab. This should tab. Okay, this one, let's say edit a string. So that's all tabs needed. For the children, it will just return the children, and it will hold the state of default selected tab, and then pass it down to all the component which would use them. The component tab will use it, the tab list maybe, and for tab panel, it definitely use them. So we will use a context to pass them along. So let's create a context. Okay, let's first create a selected tab first. Okay, cool. Context, say tabs context, React create context. So this context, what would be in it? The first thing is comes to our mind is the selected tab, right? This should be a string, or it should be, yeah, it should be a string. It should not be empty. So, and then the other one is select tab. Tab is string void. Default value selected tab. Default, yeah, it could be now. So yeah, it could be nothing. Could be it could be empty. So it could be empty here. What is this? JSdocs can only be used inside document command. I don't know what that means. Anyway, let's select tab. Okay, oh, because there's some error here, maybe. Let's first put it out. Hello. There's something wrong here. JSdoc. There's some interesting characters here. If you put it here, interesting. Let's just use uni now. Okay, selected tab is not. Oh shit, mistyped. Cool. Okay, select tab. Yeah, this is it. But this default one should not be used without the context, so actually we could just throw a new error here. Throw a new error should not be used without tabs context provider. Okay, now let's just let's use a provider. So this is tabs context provider value. It will be okay. Oh, the value is the selected value, but also with the select tab. Let's memo the value. So context value equals use memo. Selected tab, selected tab, select tab, selected tab, and here is selected tab. After we memo it, we put it into a value, and this tabs container provider is done. Cool. And okay, so here this, and also we put children here. So yeah, this is tabs, and the second one is tab list. I think we can copy something here. So tab list, we don't have this one. We only have the children. So I think we could, for now, we could just put it in children. We'll handle it later. And also the tab. Tab is the same. For tab, we have something. Is about okay, for tab, we have a props of tab. Okay, we'll just use tab, it doesn't matter. Cool, the tab, which is the name, right? Okay, so here, this is the tab string, which is needed. And then we could render, okay, for now, we need to use the button. And yeah, this is it. And the last one is the tab panel. Tab panel. Tab panel, yeah, it has the tab as well. And it has children as well, so we'll use the div for now. Let's comment it out this one and to see if render something. So default selected tab, okay, let's say tab 1. And this is tab equals tab 1. This tab equals tab 1. Cool, this tab 1. Let's create another tab. Create 3 tabs. So tab 2, tab 3, tab 2, tab 3. This as well. Tab 2, tab 3, tab 2, tab 3. Yeah, you can see this all rendered, but yeah, obviously the content should not be rendered this, right? So we need to say, okay, selected tab, use context, which is tabs context. So if selected tab if not selected, we return no. If it is, we render. So now, yeah. And for tab, we need to add the onClick handler. Again, we use this context. There's a method called select tab. So onClick select tab, which is the tab. Cool, easy. And then we need to set the style as well. Font weight. Let's just font weight. Okay. Selected tab. No. Selected tab equals tab. Then bold. If not, normal. Cool. Yeah, perfect working. So this actually is the same version from the outcome. It's totally the same as what we did as before, but now we have much more flexibility because it's destructed and you can add anything because you say, hey, well, I want a this one is title here. Yeah, and you have a title. So this means that, okay, even if for tab you can add what is it, like a checkbox. I don't think we would do that, but why not? It's like say input. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So this allows us to be super flexible. We've break it down into different parts and use these tabs. Internally use a context which holds the minimum relation, a restraint for this component, so to enable it to work. So we've now fixed the first problem, and the second one, yeah, the second accessibility, yeah, it's kind of tricky. It's just to follow the guideline in ARIA, the MDM description. This is an example of what it should be like. So you can see that for the tab list, we need a row of tab list, and ARIA label will be some hidden label you need to set. So for that, that means that for tab list, we need to have an extra field called ARIA label. Let's say this is ARIA label, and this ARIA label should be string. It must be there. So and then we could set it to this one, ARIA label equals ARIA label. We definitely have some better ways of handling this ARIA label. This is just for demonstration. It merely means that we need to set the label for this tab list, and then here the row should be tab list. Is it tab list? Cool. So now this is tab list now, and for the tab itself, the row should be tab, and there should be ARIA selected and ARIA controls and tab index. This which is pretty interesting. So the first thing, row equals tab. Now the browser will know that this is not just some random button. It is a tab. It belongs to a tab list, and then it will probably iterate through all the tabs and then get you the position, return the position, get it spoke. So this is pretty straightforward. And the other one is ARIA selected. ARIA selected, yeah, we could just use the same. So ARIA selected equals select tab to tab. This is also allows the voiceover stuff to know whether it's selected or not. ARIA controls. This is pretty tricky. It means that it should be set to the ID of this corresponding tab panel. So yeah, this is something tricky because ID it is global for the document. We cannot afford having something conflicting with each other, right? Like, so you have multiple tabs, somehow you ended up into the same ID. That's not fair. So what we do is, I think we could set a prefix for these tabs, set a unique ID here. So in this context, we have a hidden field, let's say tab name. Should be string, tab string, yeah, tab name. And then we need to create a tab name here. So tab name, we only calculate it for once. And this name should be, use some ID generator, use some unique ID generator. I'll just use some tab XX now. You could be something like return some UID here. It's pretty straightforward to implement it. I'll skip it for now. And then we put it into the context. So now we can get the selected tab and selected tab and select tab function. We could get the tab name to this tab panel. So we could set ID here. This ID should be okay, the tab name. Okay, tab. tab name, tab panel, and then we get the tab, which is the unique ID for this tab panel. And then we could set it to this one for the tab as well. So here, which is tab name. Okay, tab name is quite not good, right? Which is ARIA. What is that? Controls. Controls equals this. Let's replace tab name to tabs prefix. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter because it's internal, it's not visible to the user. And also, we build this component, it's not even visible to the developer who uses it, so it doesn't matter. Cool. So we've set, what is that? Okay, the next one is tab index. So now we've set row, ARIA selected, ARIA controls, and ARIA, and we need to handle it. Okay, ID. We don't need this for now. We don't need this because we won't access it. Another one is tab index. Tab index is that if you take a look that here, we tried it before, right? It only focuses on the active one. For the other ones, they're not focusable. So we need to set it ARIA index. ARIA index. This is a slightly different from the ARIA. Oh, tab index. Sorry, tab index equals. If it is selected, then it should be 0. If not, it should be hidden. So it's -1. Okay, cool. So what effects that it does is, if we tap it, we focus on the first one, and then when we tap it, it will not focus on the the two other buttons anymore. But we want the contents to be focusable, right? So let's get it here. The tab panel. Okay, speaking of tab panel, we should give it a row as well, which is tab panel and tab index. So this is tab row equals tab panel. Tab index equals 0. So allow it to be focusable. Cool, tab. Yeah, you can see now content for tab. It's done. Even if we change it to like okay. ARIA label. Okay, we forgot to give it a label. Which is ARIA label equals JSer tabs. Cool. Yeah, this is good. Even if we change it to default tab is 2. Yeah, it's still working. So the last thing is that we need to allow this arrow, the keyboard navigation across the tabs. Yeah. So that's the job for tab list, right? So idea here is that we will listen for the keyboard event, and we will listen to and check if the arrow keys are selected, are used, and then we will focus on the element. Remember, it's not to select the tab, but focus. Yeah. So here's the thing: how would you know which button is selected, right? And then here is a bit tricky. My solution is that we need to suppose that for tabs, only tabs could be focusable inside of tabs. It doesn't mean anything, right? We had this example that we are able to insert a input field in this tab, but it's never the best. It's never the best. It doesn't mean it's meaningless. We should not try that. So what we do is that we will search for all the row of tab elements inside of tab list, and then put them in an array, and then we will check if we will search the active one, get the index, and then increment, decrement that index by the keyboard navigation. And yeah, that's it. Let's give it a try. So we can create event handler called onKeyDown equals use callback, This event should be React keyboard event. And onKeyDown equals onKeyDown. As I say, in our camera, the keyboard event is missing. Is this generic? Keyboard event handler. Okay. Do you have this one? Oh, really? We have this? No. This is not. The event handler. The event. So it's a generic. I think it's keyboard event, right? Okay, should be fine. When we press it, we need to find the index first, right? So the tabs would be ref. Need to get the ref. Ref list equals React use ref. Estimative element. It's now ref list. So the list equals ref list dot current if list return const tabs equals list query selector all. So here's a bit tricky. You need to adapt to your implementation. We can use the row by tab, and then it should not be disabled, right? Disabled. Cool. And then we convert it from array, and then so the index would be okay. The current one is okay. Index equals tabs index of document active element, which means the current focused element. Index number. So if index more than 0, then we do nothing. And now we can switch the key, right? Case we have arrow up, case arrow left, which means we need to decrement it. So the next would be index -1, but it might be start from the first element. So we need to plus the tabs.length and then mod it. So which means that tabs next focus. Oh, it says element. The tabs are element. Okay, we cast it to HTML element because focusable are should not be other things than HTML element. For element, it could be like comment element, document, stuff like that. All right. Cool. HTML element. So active element as HTML. This bit not cool, but yeah. Or I can check. Yeah, it should be. Okay. For the other things, pretty straightforward. We just do the same for the other two keys, which is arrow down and arrow right, and we plus 1. Cool. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's give it a try. Arrow key. Wow, awesome. And also we can use tab, shift tab, arrow key, and then make sure the selected one is focused. Tab, yeah. Tab 3, tab, yeah. Tab 3, content 3, tab 3, arrow key, space, tab 2, yeah. Awesome. So let's try in the end for the voiceover to see.
For content for tab 2. Tab panel, preview page, leaving frame,
Yeah.
https://react-ts-2bfx2c.stackblz.io. Content selected, preview URL, edit text, main. You are currently on a text field. To enter text in this field, type
Press tab.
https://react-t tab 2, selected, tab. You are currently on a selected tab.
You're currently on a selected tab. Pretty cool, huh?
Leaving
Let's try
frame,
it again.
https://react-ts-2bfx2c.stackblz.io. Unselected. Tab 2, selected, tab. You are currently on a selected tab. Tab 3, tab. You are currently on a tab. To select this option, press Ctrl, Option, Space. Tab 2, selected, content for tab 2, select tab 3, tab. You are currently on a tab.
Interesting. I think
To
there's
select
some
this
bug
option,
because-
press Ctrl, Option, Space. Tab 2, selected, tab. Tab 1, to tab 2, selected, tab. Content for tab 2. Tab panel, preview page, group. Tab 2, selected, tab. Subtabs, group. You are currently on a selected tab.
You're currently on a selected tab.
Tab 3, tab.
three, tab.
You are currently on a
currently
tab.
on a tab.
To select this option, press Ctrl.
So there is a bug that I think it should be pronounced like when we focus on tab 2, it should pronounce 2 out of 3, but it doesn't. I think, okay, I found the bug. It's a row, there's typo, it should be tab list. Let's try it again.
Voiceover on list 3 now in React tab. Content for tab 2. Tab 2, selected, tab. 2 of 3,
Yeah,
subtabs,
2
tab
You
group.
pronounce it, right?
You are content for tab 2, tab 3, tab 3 of 3. You are currently on a tab 3, tab 2, tab 2 of tab 1, tab 1 of 3.
1 of 3.
You are currently on a tab.
Let's turn it
Application, voiceover off.
So yeah, finally, we've done it. It's actually not that easy. This is my first try of try to learn more about accessibility. This is the first widget called tabs. In the future, I want to cover more like dialog or list or some content list, and also menu, drop down, something interesting. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll place the link in the description. Hope it helps. See you next time. Bye bye.